I left, I was 22 years old when I left Egypt. I started here and I rode all my championships, the Egyptian champions that we won and everything, junior champion. Then I decided to leave. I went to Europe and I started in Europe. It has been very hard at the beginning, really hard. But it was my only target in my life was to go this way and to be successful in this sport.
You went to England first, if I remember.
Yeah, I used to go to England only in summer. It started like this. I went to Samir Abd Fattah. He had a beautiful farm in Yorkshire there. At this time, Michael Whittaker was still very young too. And I used to go and ride every summer for 2 months, 3 months. Like it started like this, and then slowly, it was like a test for me to go. And then after that, I decided to move to Europe. I've had good horses. I was lucky. I was finding good horses, and it started. My first Grand Prix that I won in my career has been with an American thoroughbred called Midland, and he won the Grand Prix. He was already 17 years old, and it was a Grand Prix that was in Merano. It's the borders with Austria, Italy, and Austria, and it was qualifiers for Piazza di Siena for Rome. And I went to Rome, and it was my dream to go and ride in Rome. And I found myself that I went there, and I've had good horses. And I had the Puissance, a very good Puissance horse that I won. I was second in the Puissance there. I jumped 220, something like that. And okay, and then I started going. I had a big help in the sense in the technical part. I had a very big help also because I was stationed with Nelson Pessoa. Rodrigo was still very, very young. He was still on ponies. And I remember there was Evelyn Blaton also. She was with us in the stable. And okay, being with a rider and a horseman like Pessoa is also a big present in life. And for sure it's Nick Skelton, and has been always a big image to watch him riding.
Interesting.
Because of his timing to the fence and everything. Not people can imitate his style because it can go the other way around.
Yes.
But to watch him was always something great. And slowly, and like you see, became also an Olympic gold medalist. It's coaching, daily coaching and things I never had.
No.
Okay? But if I was a bit in trouble and I wanted to ask for help and everything, I always called Neko because he's the one that is a friend and a dear person to me. And a real horseman. I mean, I can just sit and talk with him, and if I have a problem, we'll find always something now. This was a horse that was a very good Irish horse. He was bred from Michael Duffy. Family Duffy in Ireland, and then he was sold very, very expensive to Italy. And he was a special case because he was a careful horse, and people thought that he was not a careful horse. And he was sold to Italy, and he did not function. And he was in the stable of a pupil of mine, Stefano Cesaretto. I went to train him there, and when I went there, his father-in-law, who was the owner of Paddison in Italy, he told me, Andre, when you go back to Germany, you take this guy with you because we don't want him in the stable anymore. So I took him, And actually I got along immediately along well with him. I took him, after 2-3 weeks, I took him to the first small international. And then he slowly ended up winning the Grand Prix of Royan.
Hickstead as well,
He was placed in the Derby of Hickstead. He was third in the Hamburg Derby, jumping clear. Huh? We were in the jump of Neko, Katie Monaghan and myself. I had the fence down and I ended up third. Huh? And that was Paddison. Huh? But I took him already old. When I took him, he was already 13. Huh? I didn't have the means to buy expensive horses and go and buy a ready horse and everything. So all my life has been always to try to find a bargain or something, a horse that was good and got abused, or a horse that physically he was not okay, and try to repair him and things like this. Huh? The horses that I bought young and I produced them was Careful, was maybe one of the best horses I had in my life. And Casper also. These are, I made them. I took them young and I made them.
Along your long journey in this game, did you work with owners more, or sponsors more, or companies more? Was it all about contracts? Was it more friendly? Was it a bond of trust? How did that work for you?
Talking about owners, I never had a contract with owners. I built always my relation on trust. Sometimes I paid the price expensive, and sometimes I was lucky. But I never had a really contract with an owner. Huh? It was friendship and trust and like this. Huh?
So you had owners and sponsors as companies and...
Yeah, I had a few owners, and they had good horses. I had Fahd Zahid was one of my sponsors, and he gave me the best horse I ever sat on was Eastern Night. And unluckily I lost him to another rider. And I had also a Russian lady, and her name is Anna Muskova. She has very good taste in horses, and she called me one time and she told me, Andre, can you please come and help me? And she was living in Germany. I went there. Actually I went and I stayed there three and a half years, and I started clearing the first 2-3 months the good horses and keep them like this. Huh? And we took the road and we had a fantastic 3 years together. Huh? We won a lot of classes, won Grand Prix also. And then unluckily for the two of us, she lost her sponsor. So everything has been reduced and the horses were sold now. But most of the time I also owned my own horses. So the ones that I owned, I always said I have the best owner in the world.
Of course.
Is myself.